welcome back. Super Sports Saturday continues. Tom Uvaas has been good enough to come on board and come up and talk about the swimming and diving team from Fergus Falls. Tom, what are you still doing here? Aren't you supposed to be off to Bemidji today, or what?
Well, we are. The good news is that swimming doesn't begin until 3 o'clock, so
okay.
We can leave at 10, so I had enough time where I could just swing in.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Well, it's always good to be here.
Let's talk about some activities that you've had. We haven't talked in quite some time. Maroon and Gold invite, just briefly, I want to talk about that. The experience, I'm sure, very good. Tell me about it.
Well, it's a great meet because of competition. Of course, the venue itself. We talked about that before. It's at the Aquatic Center, and we did very well. We took 5 first places, which again, we're not deep, but we have some pretty good quality. Michael Osnes, for the first time in the history of our diving program, took a first place in the bronze division and dove very well. And then Joe Kitzman took first place in his 2 expertises, which would be the 100 fly and the 100 back. And then Cal Murinson had a great IM, just out-touch a young man and swam a fantastic 100 freestyle. So it's a very good meet for us. We primarily go down there because we want to give all the kids a great experience of one of the fastest pools in the country, and we also want them to have an opportunity to race good competition, even competition, and the weather cooperate, which is great.
Yeah, well, that is true. Travel conditions are always important. Hopefully you get good roads today on your way up to Bemidji. Let's skip forward a couple of meets from, let's go to Perham and New York Mills, a meet that you had here in town. You edged them out 96-87, 1-2-3 in the diving, but, they didn't have any divers, but still a good event by your divers led by Michael Osnes.
Yeah, anytime you get a chance to rehearse a few dives on the board, it's great. And we kind of looked at this as a good opportunity for us to move people around. So they swam different events. Like for example, we put Joe Kitzman and Cal Morenson in the 20-hour freestyle, and we'd never normally do that, but we want to give them a chance to kind of see what type of times they could get. And again, that was it's fun to watch. And we took 1-2 in that event, and then we moved a number of other people around. Again, the purpose is to see that maybe they could swim an event for us that we didn't realize. We're still trying to tweak for sections. And then also, it's anytime you get a chance to race against a team that's really close to us, it's a fun activity. And Perham has a very nice team. I mean, they're not very deep either, but they've got some good quality swimmers, and it was a win for all of us.
Tell me about that 100 fly race, Mike Moritz, and 4/100ths of a second winner over the Paul Swanson from Perham.
Yeah. Well, we kind of set that one up because I talked to their coach Trent, and he said we'd like to have somebody who could race our boy who's very close with 105, and I said, well, I got a boy about 105 too. So the 2 boys knew that their times were almost identical, and they raced it all the way. And it's a really nice one for Mike because it gives him some confidence now, and success breeds success. So it's just fun.
Yeah, it's good to see that stuff happen. Clay Danielson, a best time in the 200 IM. Yeah. He finished second, but he had a winning time in the 100 free.
Yeah, he doesn't get a chance to swim. The IM, last time he swam the IM was about a year ago. So, and of course that would not be a section event right now, but again, it was just fun. But the 100 freestyle was fun too because he was fresh and he got right up into it and did a very nice job.
Boy, it's great to see. Anybody else that we need to talk about a little bit when that meet earlier this week, like you said, you had a chance to move some guys around. Jacob Ugstead, a fast time in the 50 free, I see.
Yeah, Jacob has natural speed and is really blossoming and doing a good job.
I think we hear him on the radio all the time. He does the commercials for his dad. Anybody else? I see Connor Hatfield, a good meet, best times in 2 events, 100 back and 200 IM.
Connor has really stepped it up. At Brainerd, particularly, he's from a 103 in the back, which is pretty significant. And so, again, Connor's a young man. He's only been swimming for 2 years, but he's an athlete. He's a soccer player. And he is still trying to figure this whole thing out of how the sport works and has really, 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 I think, grown as a very good swimmer.
Boy, it's great to see. Let's talk about anybody else that might come to mind that really stood out on that scorecard for you.
Well, Luke Rates has had a great year for us, and he was in the medley relay for us, and he got a little ill after that. But up to this point, when we went to the Maroon and Gold and all the way through it, especially a very good meet against Wilmer, he really has stepped it up and swam very well, and is versatile enough to be a number of different relays for us, as well as the sprinting, the 50 and the 100. He prepares very well in practice.
Well, it's great to see that too. JV meet one did pretty well, 56-19. I see your JV team. Good to see you build from the bottom like that.
Well, it gave these kids, 7th and 8th graders, an opportunity to swim a little bit. And Prim does not have much of a JV team, so. But again, the beauty of swimming is you always have a race, you always have a time that you can go for, and so that's what's kind of fun. Is you may not have a lot of or you may have some great competition like we did Thursday night, but we can come out of that meet still feeling pretty good about ourselves because we race against the clock, and you always win in that.
You move on to take on Brainerd, a huge school, and a lot of kids to draw from, and you got beat 102-76, but there's always individuals to talk about in any meet that you have.
Well, it was a nice meet. They're, as we've talked about this throughout the whole sports program, they're very deep, and they have, and plus they have a quality team, nice team. We get along great with them. But again, basically set up our lineup for kids to race a little bit and do a few things different. So take Joe Kitzman. He swam the 200 IM, which he normally doesn't swim, and the 500 freestyle, which he doesn't swim. But this weekend he's swimming the fly in the back. So we wanted to get him away from his normal events so he can have some excitement this weekend. And in the IM he swam a 207, which is a very nice time. But then the 500 freestyle, a 513. And he's basically racing against kids who are, we call them professional distance swimmers. I mean, that's all they do. They swim distance, and they know the times, they know the pace. And Joe has a gift. I mean, he's an amazing young man to watch, and did a very nice job.
He won both events.
Yeah. And Cal Morrison, the same thing. We put Cal in the 100, I believe the 100 free, I hope it is, and the 100 breast.
Yep. And
he won both of those events. And the 100 freestyle, he won by, I think, 0.04 of a second. And the 100 breaststroke, he swam a nice 105, which is a good time. But the same idea, we can move them around a little bit and see what they can do. I was particularly encouraged by some of the younger kids and how well they did. This Tyler Pyle is really doing a nice job for us. I mean, he got down to a 117 100 breaststroke, and he can actually swim some butterfly for us. So as we're always kind of looking a year away or 2 years away, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what is this going to look like in our future? And who's going to be able to step it up a little bit and have some ability so they can have confidence in themselves in their training.
How has the band trip affected you guys? I know you were without a couple of swimmers there on Thursday against Brainerd. You won't have them this weekend either.
Well, it's going to be a major factor this weekend because we probably have a pretty good chance of taking second in true team if we had our whole complete team with us. But, it's a numbers game for true team, and really it cuts back in our relays. Also illness. We're missing about 3 kids because of illness right now. So that's kind of how it is. It's kind of too bad for the younger kids because really, you get right down, a true team is really more for your 7th, 8th, and 9th graders when you get right down to it because every point counts, and so it's kind of fun when let's say for example you're in 18th place out of 23 swimmers, and you want to just see if you can go up to maybe 17th place, whoever. And that's what the fun of it is how much can you move up in points to help your team, and that's how the whole concept of true team is. But we're coming with a pretty solid team. Again, we got the quality will be there. That will be the question. But as for how many points you score in each event, it's probably going to be a lot lighter because in some events we won't even have 4 swimmers because of some of the kids traveling on a band trip and because of some of the illnesses, and that is a major factor.
When you go into a situation like this weekend and you kind of know where you're going to possibly be, you kind of know at least the location. Do you go in with different goals instead of saying we're going to try to go out and win this as a team? Do you set the swimmers up to say, okay, let's focus on your time here instead of first place?
Yeah, that's a great question. Absolutely. Matter of fact, the real reason why we're going to this particular meet is the pool. This is the pool that's going to be our gateway to state. And so, for example, we got Cal Morrison from the IM. He may not even swim the IM for sections to go to state. We're having him swim that because we want him to get used to the turns, the transitional turns on the walls, and it's kind of really it's a very important factor for us. So he's going to be swimming that to see how the walls feel, and because we're not sure. I don't know if it's a tile pool or if it's a steel pool, if it's a concrete pool. And people are probably saying, well, what difference does it make? Well, walls get slippery real quick here, so you have to really know how the plant is. When you're talking about, an all-out race for state, it becomes pretty critical. So we're going there for the pool, for the starts, for the blocks, and also for some good times.
I was going to say, a pool is a pool is a pool, but that's really not the case. Temperature differences, what you see when you come out of the water, your focal points have got to change. It's good experience for the kids, again, to get that experience in this pool.
Yeah, absolutely. It really, really is. If you don't have that opportunity, and not all teams are going to this meet, but the major components are. Alexander's going to be in this meet. They're very good. They're deep, and hats off to their program. Of course, Bemidji will be there, so we get to also get race against our top competition. Detroit Lakes will be there, and Park Rapids and Perm. So there'll be some nice races for us. But again, I think that for the person who really wants to do well, you have to really know your venue. You have to know the detailed parts of what the pool's like, what the decks are like, the blocks, stuff like that, the lighting. It all makes a difference.
Tell me the format of this now. Again, to people that may not know what True Team is, everyone has the same amount of swimmers in every event, and basically it's same number of swimmers against the same number of swimmers.
Well, yeah, the way it works is that you're allowed 4 entries per event, which includes relays, and all relays score. So the key to this whole meet is having a good C and D relay, because they score big points for you. In our case, we don't have any D relays in this meet. We have, I think, a couple of C relays. We hope, depending upon who can make it to this meet. But then the way it works is you take first place, you get the highest number of points in that event. So if there's 30 swimmers, you get 30 points for first place. Second place is 29. Third place is 28. So it just goes straight down. So the difference between first and second is 1 point, which isn't very significant. So that's how I got the name True Team. It's the whole team. You win this event primarily because of what your 7th, 8th, and 8th graders do.
I was going to say, because their importance really comes through. And do you see maybe a bit of nerves in those younger swimmers going, boy, my stuff counts now?
Not only is it nervousness, but it's also, I think what it is they're rewarded for the performance in the pool, especially training. And you can't mention that enough. It's really the preparation part of it makes success. And so if they've been preparing in the pool, and then they get up in that race and they do well, they say, yes, I'm really ready for this race, or I'm really improving this particular performance. But you're right, it's fun to see kids who are realizing that they are a factor, man, on the bench.
How much do you count on your senior leaders or your upper class leaders, maybe on the bus trip up, to kind of take these guys under their wing and settle them down and tell them how to focus and how to approach the race?
Well, I think it's critical. I think all coaches will tell you the same thing, that the leadership of the upperclassmen is really the key for the growth of your program. And we really expect our upperclassmen to do a good job of really of helping out and looking at the mechanics of the strokes and technique, so on and so forth. Last night we took 45 minutes and we worked on turns, and basically we broke everyone up by different events, and we had our more experienced swimmers in those events teach and model turns for the younger kids. And turns are tricky. It's a transition. It's where you're going forward. All of a sudden you have to change direction pretty quick. And I don't care what level you're at. You could be at Olympic trials, or you could be at a CELO USA meet. But the turn is what really makes a difference, and it takes a lot of time. And it's like the putt in golf. It just takes a lot of practice. And so we really spend some time on that. But the point is that it gives the opportunity of the older swimmer to talk to the younger swimmer, get to know them a little bit, and show them how much they appreciate them coming out for swimming and growing.
Well, the turns, they got to be a part of your race that you can really shave time off of, based on technique. I know swimming you can too, but those turns you can really shave some time off if you're doing it right.
Well, absolutely. And again, that goes right back to why we're going to Bemidji, as we talked about before, is for the older kids like the Joe Kidsmans and whatnot to really rehearse their turns so that they have an opportunity to maybe make it to state, or to place what sections. You take like Connor Hatfield, that's where the turns will really help him, or Mike Mortensen, or any of these boys. And talk about diving for just a moment. The divers will be diving at noon today, and they're going up for the same exact reason. They want to get used to that board because we have very talented divers. Yeah. These divers will probably take, pretty good chance to take first, second, and third again. But even more important, I think, is how well they do at this section, so they have a chance of maybe going to state, and possibly all three of them.
Well, I saw that Michael Osnes, diving champion against Perham, but you got Mike Pistolka still continuing to grow and had his personal best score. Yeah. So it's great to see those guys maybe, catching up to Michael a little bit.
Well, I get a chance to watch diving a little bit during practice because they actually practice right after us, and sometimes I have some extra groups coming in to do some work. But it is really fun to watch their practice. I mean, anytime you have a high skill level like that, three boys mentoring and actually kind of pushing each other to the edge, with a coach who can really coach them like Mike Hartwell does, it's really fun to watch. And I can't say enough about all three of these young men, how much they've grown. Reed Magnuson has really done a very nice job of not just diving well, but also showing the, I would say, the focus of realizing that each dive is important and seeing the big picture, which is really important in life. And the same thing for Mikey. Mikey Pistolka is just really, at Brainerd, he during warm-ups he did a dive and he landed really flat. And anyways, during warm-ups, and it was fun to see. He looked at the coach with a smile and said, "Oh, that was interesting," and just kept went on. And that's what it's all about. It's how do you handle something when it's not perfect. And so it's been fun to watch all the divers do so well. Even our 7th and 8th graders are doing very well too.
Yeah, I mean, if you mess something up, you just got to get up there and do it again, right?
That's right.
All right. Anybody else we need to talk about today? There's got to be some kids that have done very well for you.
Yeah, well, I want to put a little check mark by a few boys here. We talked about Jacob Ugstad again. He's doing extremely well. Mike Mortensen has had 3 solid weeks of swimming and has really picked it up and is growing as a trainer as well as a very good swimmer. We have some great 9th graders. We got Daniel Kowalski, which we talked a little bit about, but he's in our sprints and breaststroke doing a great job, especially in the 200 medley relay and our relays. Dalton Morrison, which is Kel's brother, is swimming a fantastic backstroke and IMs for us and very, very strong. The 2 boys who are gone for us, Isaac Nedgewick and Austin Tabbitt, are doing just great. They're actually on a band trip. Luke Rates, who's another 9th grader, is swimming a fantastic sprint, as we mentioned before. And then for 8th grade, we got Aaron Erlinson, who's just doing a great job for us in the breaststroke. And the reason why I mention the 8th grade is because they're actually going to be swimming quite a bit this afternoon. We have Ryan Beck, who can swim freestyle and fly for us. We have a brand new swimmer, Evan Anderson, who's doing backstroke for us, is doing great. Justin Mortensen, who really took the plunge early and said, I just want to train with a varsity a little bit, and has been just great. I can put Justin in any event, and he's able to handle anything. He can swim 100 fly for us if I need him. He can swim the 500, the 200 freestyle. It just shows you how much he's growing. Luke Abear had his best meet ever Thursday at Brainerd. He's a little sick right now, but he really has a little bit of talent where he could really do something in the freestyle someday.
Well, it's great to hear you guys, continue to build from where you are. Divers, they got to be already on the road, though, aren't they? Or leaving here at 9?
They left at 6:30, so they're on their way. And again, we'll leave at 10. We don't have to be there till about 1 o'clock, 1:15, and then of course we'll tell you what the weather's like.
Yeah, it's hopefully going to be okay. You got a meet coming up next week. Looks like it says location to be announced, aren't you? Are you going? You're at home or Sauk Rapids? One of the two, right?
Yeah, it's away. We're at Sauk Rapids, right?
Okay, so you're on the road. Well, I just go by what I see here, Coach.
No.
Tom, thanks a lot. Good luck today, and we'll talk again next week about it.
It's always a privilege. Thank you so much.
Tom Uvaas with the Fergus Falls High School boys swimming and diving team.